In Greek legend, Asclepius was the son of Apollo and the god of healing. His wisdom and skills at healing were unsurpassed, and he is said to have discovered the secret of life and death itself. In ancient Greece, the Asclepian healing temples recognized the power of the primordial spiral, which is symbolized by the rod of Asclepius. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, whose oath still forms the moral code of the medical profession, was said to have received his training at an Asclepian temple. To this day, this symbol of our evolutionary energy remains as the logo for the American Medical Association and other medical organizations worldwide. In Egyptian iconography, the snake and bird represent the duality or polarity of human nature. The snake, the downward direction, is the manifested spiral, the evolutionary energy of the world. The bird is the upward direction, the upward current oriented towards the sun, or awakened single-pointed consciousness, the emptiness of Akasha. Pharaohs and gods are depicted with awakened energy, whereby the Kundalini snake moves up the spine and pierces Ajna chakra between the eyes. This is referred to as the Eye of Horus. In the Hindu tradition, the bindi is also representative of the third eye, the divine connection to spirit. King Tutankhamun's mask is a classic example showing both the snake and bird motifs. The Mayan and Aztec traditions combine the serpent and bird motif into one god, Quetzalcoatl or Kukulkan. The winged serpent god represents the awakened evolutionary consciousness, or awakened Kundalini. The person who awakens Quetzalcoatl within themselves is a living manifestation of the divine. It is said that Quetzalcoatl, or serpent energy, shall return at the end of time. The snake and bird symbols can be found within Christianity as well. Their true meaning may be more deeply encrypted, but the meaning is the same as in other ancient traditions. In Christianity, the bird or dove, often seen above Christ's head, represents Holy Spirit, or Kundalini Shakti, as it rises to the sixth chakra and beyond. The Christian mystics called Kundalini by another name, Holy Spirit. In John 3:12, it says, "And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up." Jesus and Moses awakened their Kundalini energy, bringing awakened consciousness to the unconscious reptilian forces that drive human craving. Jesus was said to have spent 40 days and nights in the desert, during which time he was tempted by Satan. Similarly, the Buddha was tempted by Mara as he sat to reach enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, or wisdom tree. Both Christ and Buddha had to turn away from the lure of sensory pleasures and worldly grasping. In each story, the demon is the personification of one's own attachments. the Adam and Eve story in the light of the Vedic and Egyptian traditions, we find that the serpent guarding the tree of life is Kundalini. The apple represents the lure and temptation of the external sensory world, distracting us from the knowledge of the inner world, the tree of knowledge within. The tree is simply the network of nadis, or energy meridians within ourselves, which literally form tree-like structures throughout the body. In our egoic quest for external gratification, we have cut ourselves off from the knowledge of the inner world, our connection to Akasha and the wisdom source. Many of the world's historical myths about dragons can be read as metaphors for the inner energies of the cultures in which they are embedded. In China, the dragon is still a sacred symbol representing happiness. Like the Egyptian pharaohs, ancient Chinese emperors who had awakened their evolutionary energies were represented by the winged snake or dragon. The royal totem of the Jade Emperor, or Celestial Emperor, shows a balance similar to Ida and Pingala. The yin and yang of Taoism, awakening the pineal center, or what in Taoism is called the upper dantian,